Amen. I don't know about you, but I am excited about Jesus. I'm excited about the Most High God. I'm excited about the one who died for me. I'm excited about the one who came and set me free. Hallelujah, Jesus. Oh, we bless the name of the Lord. Amen. Glory to God. Giving honor to God, who is the head of my life. Amen. To our Bishop Andre Douglas Eaton. Amen. We bless the Lord for him. Glory to God. Who is older than I am. Amen. And will be 50 before I will. Amen. By about 5 months. In the name of Jesus. We just bless God for who he is. Amen. Amen. I'm excited about the Lord. Come on here. Come on here. What has he done for you on today? What has he done for you on this week? What has he done for you this year? Oh, my God, my God. Just the fact that you're able to sit here, amen, and you have breath in your bodies, amen, we ought to give God the praise like we've never praised him before. Oh, hallelujah, Jesus. My God, my God. There's a song that's been in my spirit, amen, and we know that I don't sing anymore, amen, but I'm going to try with the help of David over there, amen. Change me, oh God. Change me, oh God. Anybody want the Lord to change them? Anybody want the Lord to do something in them because they realize there are some things about them that's just not quite what the Lord would have. So we want the Lord to change us and make us more like new. Amen. 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 I don't know it that well, but join in. Change me, oh God. Make me more like you. Change me, oh God. Wash me through and through.
Come on now.
Just create in me a clean heart, so that I may worship you. Change me, oh God. Make me more like you. Change me, oh God. Wash me through and through. Create in me a clean heart. Whatever is not right within me, I need God to rip it out of me. I need Him to burn it. Because I don't need it to be a part of me. Anything that's keeping me from being in the place that God has called me to be. Oh God, I need Him to get rid of it. If it's keeping me from loving Him and loving you, I need Him to get rid of it. Oh, glory to God. If it's keeping me from representing Him the way that He wants me to, I need Him to get rid of it. Oh my God, if it's keeping us from being woven together. I need Him to get rid of it. Glory to God. Oh my God. And I'm asking that today that we just do a self-evaluation and see where we are in Christ Jesus. Let's see if He comes today. Are we ready? Are we ready to go back with Him? Oh my God. Or will He have to leave us? Because of our ways, because of our thoughts, because of our actions, because of our hearts. Glory to God. Oh God, I bless your name today, Jesus. I bless you today, amen. Praise God. Father God, in the name of Jesus. God, we come to you today because there is no other help we know, oh God. God, you are such a wonder in our soul, oh God. And we thank you for choosing us. We thank you for picking us. We thank you, oh God, for your love and your kindness, your tender mercies, your grace, oh God. We thank you. Because if it wasn't for your grace and mercy, God, we don't know where we would be. But God, we thank you. We ask that you forgive us for our sins. Wash us, oh God. Cleanse us, purify us, sanctify us, fill us with your Holy Spirit, oh God. A new anointing, oh God. Oh God, we thank you. We ask that you have your way on today, God. Give me what to say and how to say it, oh God, in the name of Jesus. Whatever you say, oh God, not my will, but your will be done in the name of Jesus. Save, deliver, set free, oh God. Save, deliver, set free, oh God. Save, deliver, set free. Hallelujah, in the name of Jesus. We thank you for your word, oh God. And we ask that it comes forth with power. In Jesus' name. Amen. Amen. Praise God. Amen. We will be coming from 1 Kings, the 17th chapter. 1 Kings, the 17th Praise the Lord. Amen. 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 Praise the Lord. Amen. Somebody just give that praise. Amen. 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 I'm sorry. Sorry, I think I wrote something over here. Amen. Amen. Praise God. Thank you. Amen. Come on, let's give God praise. Let's give God praise. Amen. Let's give God praise. I'm sorry, 1 Samuel. Amen. It's like something is not right. Okay. Amen. Praise the Lord for our bishop. Amen. Praise God. 1 Samuel 17. Amen. 1 Samuel 17. Praise God. Amen. In my mind, I'm thinking Samuel, but on my paper, I wrote kids. And I really know.
It's all right.
Amen. Amen. And this is a long chapter. And I don't know. Actually, you know what? You may be seated. You may be seated. Amen.
Let's go.
Praise God. Praise God. We just bless God on today. Amen. And I'm going to go a little bit out of order today. I have been praying and I said, okay, God, the way that I'm trying to bring this together, you don't seem to be allowing me to bring it together. So I'm just going to let him have his way. Amen. Instead of let me get out the way. Amen. Amen. So I'm going to actually talk a little and then we'll go into the scripture. Amen. Amen. Each day, most of us have a routine of how we do things. Amen. But how many of us believe that there are some things in our lives that need to be changed? Whether it's the people in our lives, the places that we go, or maybe some of the things that's in our lives, it's time to disrupt the norm of our lives. We do the same things day in and day out, and because for the most part, it seems to work for us, guess what? We continue to do the same things. Amen. But there are some things that we just know that is not getting us to the place that we need to be, and it's not getting us to the place that we need to be in God. So the results that we are getting are not the best results, but it's getting us through. It's getting us over just enough to be able to make it day by day. And why do we do that? Because it's easy. You know, when we talk about change, people get a little nervous. People get a little scary because change can be difficult. Change can be painful. When you're comfortable doing something, then guess what? You feel like that's what you should be doing. But many times it's not the best way, and it may not even be the right way. Many of us, we've heard all of our lives, if it's not broke, don't fix it. But many times, guess what? We're not even noticing that it actually is broken. And the reason why things aren't going right is because it's actually broken. There may be a crack to the left that you didn't see. Yesterday I brought a set of pots. A set of dishes. And it looked right because I checked it before I left the store. But when I got home, guess what? There was a little chip on the side that I didn't see. And if I had saw that in the store, guess what? I would not have purchased it. And so we're walking around thinking and saying, well, you know what? It's not broke, so I'm not going to do anything about it. But many of us are broken in areas where only God can do a new thing within us. Only God can make a change. So my question is, how do we know what could happen if we really did something differently? How do we know what God can do if we truly stepped out of the norm of how things go? If we truly disrupted the norm? And as I look, my topic is going to be disrupting the norm. Disrupting the norm. And when we look at the word norm, we know that that's the usual thing. It's what you would expect that I do. You're like, oh, that's Taji, that's her norm. It's the typical thing, nothing new. And when we look at the word disrupt, and this is what I like, it's to interrupt. It's to actually throw into confusion. Because you know, sometimes we look, God has us confused, but what if we truly confuse the enemy? What if we confuse the devil? So it's to throw into disorder. Throw into disarray. So we're trying to disrupt the norm. Amen. And so we're going to look back at 1 Samuel, amen, the 17th chapter, and I'm just going to go through it verse by verse. Amen. And it says, now the Philistines gathered together their armies to battle, and were gathered together at Shokem, which belongeth to Judah, and pitched between Shoka and Azekah in Ephes-Dammim. And Saul and the men of Israel were gathered together, and pitched by the valley of Elah, and set the battle in array against the Philistines. And the Philistines stood on a mountain on one side, and and Israel stood on a mountain on the other side. And there was a valley between them. And there went out a champion out of the camp of the Philistines named Goliath of Gath, whose height was 6 cubits and a span. And he had an helmet of brass upon his head, and he was armed with a coat of mail. And the weight of the coat was 5,000 shekels of brass. And he had greaves of brass upon his legs, and a target of brass between his shoulders. I'm going to stop right there for now, amen. Some of you know that I like to get people involved, so I'm going to ask if you can stand up, please. Amen, because we know that right here, and I want you to really take this, and I need you to understand what's going on right here. So we have the Philistines, and we have Israel, amen. So this side right here is going to be the Philistines, and over here we're going to have Israel. And the Bible said that there was a valley between. So happened, look at God. He gave us a little hour right here. So we're going to make that the valley that's between. Amen. And so we have the Philistines and we have Israel. And I need everybody to participate in this right here. Amen. So it says, and there went out a champion. Joe, you're going to be the champion, okay? We're going to make Joe the champion out of the camp of the Philistines. Named Goliath. You're going to be Goliath of Gath, whose height was 6 cubits in a span. Now if we break down 6 cubits, that was about 9 feet, over 9 feet, about 9 feet and maybe about 5 or 6 inches. Now I don't know about you, but we see somebody 6'4", 6'5", and we're like, wow, they're pretty tall. But if you have Goliath over here standing and he's 9 feet and 5 inches, you're going to be somewhat intimidated by him. Amen. And so, but not only was he just that tall, but it talks about what he wore. It talks about the armor that he had on. And it says that he had a coat that was 5,000 shekels of brass. Now, 5 shekels of brass accumulates to about 127 pounds of brass. So here he is with 127 pounds of brass on him. Now, he's already a big guy. But now he's walking around with an additional 126 pounds on him. But now on his head, it says, and he had a helmet of brass upon his head. And he was armed with a coat of mail. Now on his head, he was carrying about 17 pounds of iron. My Lord. But I don't know about you, but I think that would be weighed down. I think that would just be a little bit much for me to walk around, amen, and talking about I'm this soldier, I'm this mighty man. That's a little much, amen. But it says, and he had a helmet of brass, amen, and then going down, it says, and he had greaves of brass upon his leg. So not only did he have that, but he still had other things attached to him. He still had brass attached to his legs and his shoulders. It says, and the staff of his spear was like a weaver's beam, and his spear's head weighed 600 shekels of iron. That's the 17 pounds that I was talking about. And one bearing a shield went before him. And he stood and cried unto the armies of Israel, and said unto him, this is where I need you to participate, Joe. Why are ye coming? I need you to look over at Israel. Israel, I need you to look at Goliath. Amen. It says, why are ye come out to set your battle in array? Am I? Yes. Am not I a Philistine?
Am I not a Philistine?
No. I need you to say it like you're Goliath. Am I not a Philistine?
Am I not a Philistine?
And ye servants to Saul?
Ye servants to Saul?
So here you are over here, because we know that King Saul was the king of Israel, amen? And so you all would be considered the servants. So he's saying, I'm a Philistine, and you are servants of Saul. Choose a man for you and let him come down to me. So he's telling you, go ahead, tell him, choose a man to come down to me.
To me.
Yes, because he is Goliath. It says, if he be able to fight with me and to kill me, then will we be your servants. So if you all send someone to Goliath, who's a Philistine, and they kill him, then guess what? They will become your servants. My God. Choose you a man for you and let him come down to me. And it says, but if I prevail against him and kill him, then shall ye be our servants and serve us. So excuse me, not Joe. Goliath is saying, guess what? If I kill you, if I kill your man that you send, then you all are going to be our servants. And the Philistine said, I defy the armies of Israel this day. So here Goliath is defying the army of God. He is going totally against Israel. He is going against who they believe. It says, give me a man.
Give me a man.
That we may fight together.
We may fight together.
When Saul and all Israel heard those words of the Philistines, guess what you all did over here? They were dismayed and greatly afraid. I need you to look afraid. Thank you, Greg. That's very good. You need to look afraid. Amen. Because here this Philistine is standing there, and he's saying that he stood out from amongst the entire army. The entire army. And he's saying, I got this all by myself. He's saying, I can take you all. And you all are going to be my servants. Amen. It says, when Saul and all Israel heard these, they were greatly dismayed. Yes. And greatly afraid. My God. Now David, Siobhan, I need you. Now David was the son of that Ephrathite of Bethlehem, Judah. Matter of fact, come up a little closer, Siobhan. Whose name was Jesse. And he had 8 sons. And a man went among men for an old man in the days of Saul. And the 3 eldest sons of Jesse went and followed Saul to the battle. Now we know that David was the younger one. But he had 3 brothers. And these brothers were older. And these brothers, they were part of the army of Israel. And they went to fight. And I noticed that it said that, and David went and returned from Saul. So at some point, David had, I can just only imagine, David had went because he had a lot of character. And he went and he was with Saul, but it says he returned from Saul to feed his father's sheep, because we know who David was, amen? Right, David was the shepherd, and he cared for his father's sheep. And we know that it's not an easy job, because what you have to lead the sheep, because if not, they will go astray. If you don't lead the sheep correctly, they will be led in the wrong way. Amen? And lions and can come up and grab your sheep and take your sheep from you. And bears can come up and take your sheep from you. So David, let me hear from you. Say amen or something. Amen. Amen. So David, he was a shepherd and he cared for sheep. And when the sheep were in trouble, guess what he had to do? He had to make sure those sheep were safe. So David fought. He fought against bears. He fought against lions. Amen. So David didn't even realize that he was being prepared for battle. He was being prepared for war. And just like today, guess what? God is preparing us to do a great work. God is preparing us for battle. God is preparing us for the things that come up against us, from the fiery darts that try to attack us. God prepares us for whatever it is. You don't have to wonder why you're going through what you're going through. You don't have to try to figure out why you're going through what you're going through. Just know that God is preparing you for greatness. Just know that God is preparing you for better. Just know that God is preparing you for the things that he has called you to do in your life. And so David was the youngest of these brothers. And the Philistines drew near morning and evening. So here we have the Philistines, they're up there and they're drawing near. They're drawing near to Israel. Amen. And presented himself 40 days. But this is the thing. It's Goliath who is doing all of the dirty work. It's Goliath. Goliath is the one. Goliath is going out and he alone. How many of you know you ever have that person where they just feel like they got to be the one? They feel like they got to step out. They feel like they got to make it happen. Well, here we got Goliath. He is that one. So here he is, and for how many days? For 40 days he went to Israel. But see, we didn't realize it. Don't you know God will have someone? God will have a ram in the bush. God will have someone who you don't expect. Amen. To be the one to stand up. To be the one to take take control. Amen. So here we have 40 days, Goliath coming up to Israel, saying, hey, where's your man? Obviously you don't have anybody, because I've been doing this for 30 days now, 31 days now, and you haven't sent anybody out. What's going on? Nobody here you think can defeat me? And what about the ego of Goliath? What if we, being in Christ, had the character to where it didn't matter. Nothing is going to stop me. I can do all, because that's what Goliath was pretty much saying. He didn't know it. I can do all things. He just wasn't in Christ. I can do all things. But Goliath believed with everything in him, I can take out a whole army if I got to. I can defeat you if I want to. I can overthrow you. I can overtake you if I want to. But here we have Israel, who believes in the true God, and they're so afraid. They're afraid. They're running. They're timid. But you serve the true and living God. And what about the Christians that we have today? Here we are running. We see the Jehovah's Witness coming. We see the Israelites coming. We see the atheists coming. Oh God, they run. How can you, who serve the true and living God, allow anyone else to overtake you? Allow anyone else to make you afraid? I don't know about you, but my Bible says that for God did not give us a spirit of fear, but He gave us a spirit of power, the spirit of love, and the spirit of a sound mind. And with the power of God, there is nothing that I can't overcome. With the power of God, there is nothing that I can't endure. With the power of God, there is nothing that I need to be afraid of. And then He's given me love, because love conquers everything. And when you have the love of God within you, there is nothing that you will be afraid of. When you know the God that you serve, the God who loves you enough to send His only begotten Son to die for you, you know that you have something. My God. And then He gives you a peace of mind. So I don't have to worry. I don't have to fret. I don't have to try to figure it out. I can have peace of mind. I'm not worried about where my next meal is coming from. I'm not worried about how I'm going to pay my bill. I'm not worried about that person that keeps coming at me. I'm not worried about the one who talks about me. I'm not worried about the one who's trying to use me. I'm not worried, because God has given me a spirit of peace. Hallelujah. Come on, somebody give God praise for a spirit of peace. Hallelujah, Jesus. And it says, and Jesse said unto David his son, amen. AJ, amen, I need you. Can you please stand up? And you're going to be Jesse. You are David's father. Okay. It says, and Jesse said unto David his son, take now for thy brethren. Take to your brother. Tell him, I need to take this to your brother.
Take this to you, brother.
AJ, I need you to tell, Jesse, I need you to tell David, I need you to take this to your brother.
Take this to your brother.
And what is he taking to his brother? He's taking corn, he's taking 10 loaves of bread. Amen, because he knows that his sons are hungry. They're out there at war. They're out there waiting, and they're out there fighting for Israel, so they must be hungry. So he sends David, amen, to go check on his brothers and carry these 10 cheeses unto the captain of their 1,000. And look how your brethren fare. So he's saying, check out your brothers, see how they're doing out there. Make sure they're okay. Go ahead, tell them. Check on your brothers.
Check on your brothers.
Make sure they're okay.
Make sure they're okay.
Make sure they're not hungry. Take this to them. And carry these 10 cheeses unto the captain of their 1,000. And look how your brethren fare, and take their pledge. Now Saul and they and all the men of Israel were in the valley of Elah, fighting with the Philistines. So they were there in the valley and they were fighting. So that means they were on the mountain, but now they've come down and they're in the valley. Amen. And David rose up early. Okay, Jesse, you can have a seat. It says, and David rose up early in the morning. So David, you rising up early in the morning? And he left the sheep I need you to be a better actor than this, though. Okay. And he left the sheep with the keeper and took and went, as Jesse had commanded him. And he came to the trench as the host was going forth to the fight, and shouted for the battle. For Israel and the Philistines had put the battle in array, army against army. Army, the Philistines, come on, that's a weak, you a weak army. The Philistines and Israel, amen, they were in a fight there in the valley. Thank you all, you good actors over there. And David left his carriage in the hand of the keeper of the carriage and ran into the army. David ran into, this is the army right here. David ran into the army. Amen, amen, amen. And ran into the army and came and saluted. Now that's a brave David. David has run. How brave can you be? David has run into the midst of the army and saluted his brothers. Yeah. And as he talked with them, behold, there came up the champion, the Philistine of Gath, Goliath by name, out of the armies of the Philistines, and spake according to the same words. And David heard. What were the words that Goliath spoke? Send somebody down.
Send somebody down.
I got this. Come on, act like Goliath. I got this.
I got this.
And now David, that's probably how David was too. David was like, yeah, okay. And all the men of Israel, when they saw the man, fled from him. So when Goliath came, what did Israel do? Again, not knowing who they are. Not knowing that they are the child of the Most High God. They ran. Not knowing that they have power. They have the power of God within them. What did they do? They ran. Not knowing that they could do all things through Christ who strengthened them. What did they do? They ran. Not knowing that greater is he that is within me than he that is in the world. What did they do? They ran. Not realizing that they were more than conquerors through Christ Jesus. What did they do? They ran. My God. And here as Christians, what are some of us doing? My God, help us. Help us today, God. Help us today, God. It says, they fled from him and were sore afraid. Not just afraid, but were sore afraid. And the men of Israel said, have you seen this man that has come up? So Israel is like, oh my gosh, have you seen this man? He is 9 feet 5 inches tall. Have you all seen him? Do you see all of that armor that he got on? How is he carrying all of that weight? My God, how is he able to do that? But he said, surely to defy Israel is he come up. So he's come. Thank you, Goliath, yes. He's come. You can move out. You can move out. You have to stand in one place because Goliath didn't do it. Amen. It says, surely to defy Israel is he come up. And they knew that he was coming to defy them. They knew that he was coming to defy the army. They knew that that Goliath thought that they were nothing. They were not important to Goliath. He looked at them like mere trash. Mere trash. It says, and it shall be that the man who killed him, the king will enrich him. My God. The king will enrich him. The king will increase him. The king will give him more with great riches and will give him his daughter. And when I looked at that, I said, the king will have favor. Because we know that the Bible says what? He who finds a wife finds a good thing and gains favor, right? So he's going to increase him. He's going to get favor. And it says, and make his father's house free in Israel. So that sounds like debt free to me. Amen. So he's going to be increased. He's going to gain favor and be debt free if they kill Goliath. My God. It says, and David spake to the men that stood by him, saying, come on, David, what shall be done to the man that killed this Philistine?
What shall be done to the man that killed this Philistine?
And take away the reproach from Israel.
And take away the reproach from Israel.
And so David, here goes David's boldness. For who is this uncircumcised Philistine? Who is this man with no authority? be okay. And Eliab is the oldest brother, heard when he spake unto the men. My God. Now here we've got the oldest brother. If you're on the tithes, you can take a seat. I know you've been working hard. Amen. It says, and Eliab, his eldest brother, heard when he spake unto the men. And Eliab's anger was kindled against David. So the oldest brother got mad.